My name is Steve. Welcome to my shop. And Shark Bits edition number 44. This will probably be the last video that I shoot of 2021. And I've got some viewer gifts and a new piece of equipment that I bought for the shop that I'd like to share with you. So let's get started. This first item, box in front of me, is from Dave Matier from California. He has a YouTube channel, Dave M, where he does a lot of machining. I believe he has 2 mini lathes and he's got a mini milling machine. So I will leave a link to his channel in the description. Make sure you check him out. A couple of months ago I got an email from Dave telling me he was going to send me something. I have absolutely no idea what it is. About 2 weeks ago this box showed up on my front porch, and so we're going to open it up and be surprised together. I'm going to bring the camera in a little bit closer so we can see what's going on, and I'll be right back. Okay, I've got you looking over my shoulder. Let me try and re-aim this so I'm not blocking too much of it. And let's see what Dave sent. Hi Steve, here are some items I really never use and hope you have use for them. The V-blocks are cast iron and were shipped to me in error, wrong size. The depth gauge is one of the first things I bought, not realizing it's too big for my machines. 1/16 collet isn't precision, just in a box I had. You probably can use the rest of the stuff. Oh, and I know you do castings with aluminum, and my scrap bucket was getting too full to enjoy the 6061 scrap. Enjoy watching your channel. Keep it up, Dave. So let's see what we've got. Oh, very nice. There's some cast iron V-blocks. There's a pair of them in here. Very nice, and I can use them. They work very well on my milling machine. So let's set them aside. We'll bring everything back together when I'm done. Oh, okay. This is a digital depth gauge from Fowler. Very nice. I'm sure I can use that. I have regular Starrett type micrometers, and I got to tell you, it's one of the more difficult micrometers to use because there's so much mechanical advantage in them that they have a tendency to push up like a jack when you're doing them. It takes a very fine feel. I'm going to have to try this one out. Okay, metric dial indicator. I actually don't have one of them. I've got a lot of dial indicators, but I don't have any in metric. That'll come in very handy. Looks like the scale is 0.01 millimeters and the range is 0 to 10 millimeters. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. Very nice. Here's a real nice adjustable parallel. Looks like it's in a Starrett box. I assume it's a Starrett. Works beautiful. I do use them. They come in very handy, especially for machine setups. And I even use them for measuring slots and so on. Okay, here's an ER32 collet and 1/16. I don't have ER32 collets at this time. I have ER16 and I have ER40. But I'm not going to rule out putting ER32 collets in stock. However, if I don't, I'll pass this along to somebody that can use it. Okay, here's a milling cutter. It's a single flute milling cutter, high-speed steel. And to be perfectly honest with you, I have never seen one like this. It actually looks like it could be used, could use it as a boring bar. That might work well in my boring head. I'm going to have to do some research on that. Never seen one like that. If anybody's got any ideas on it, leave me a comment. And here is a miniature, very small mill, 1/8 inch. There it goes. There we go, 1/8 inch mill, and I do use these. Very good. I add that to my collection of milling cutters. And this must be the box of aluminum scrap that he was talking about. Wow. I see a box full of parts. He might call it scrap, but I just see a box of small pieces of aluminum that can be used for projects. Thank you, Dave. I really appreciate it. It's a very nice collection of gifts. I can't tell you how pleased I am to be a part of this YouTube machinist community. It's a great group of guys, and everybody seems to be willing to share. I really appreciate it. Thank you again, Dave. It's quite a Christmas present. This next item, it was sent to me by Andrew Evans, and Andy has been a frequent contributor to my channel, and prior to this he sent me a load of cutters for my horizontal milling machine. But this is a Jacob's Chuck number 59B, and this will fit my lathe. It actually threads onto the spindle of my lathe, and it's going to be ideal for holding and turning small hex stock. It's a piece of 3/16 hex stock that I use for making bolts and so on for the model engineering, and I have yet to be able to find a collet to fit that fits my lathe for one of the collet systems that I have for my lathe. So this is going to be perfect. I'm going to take and go set it up on the lathe, and I'll show you how it works. There's the 59B chuck mounted on my 10-inch Atlas lathe, and I put a 1/2 inch gauge pin in it. So let's take and see what kind of runout I get with this. I'm going to move the camera so hopefully we can see the dial indicator face. There we go, you can see that. Just take and wind it up to 0. I'm going to rotate it by hand. That's pretty good. I would call that 2/1000ths. That's not too bad at all. Okay, my primary use for this is going to be, as I mentioned earlier, it's going to be for holding this small hex stock for making bolts and so on. So let's see how this works. Fits nicely. That's about the smallest piece of stock that's going to fit in the chuck the way it's made, and that's 3/16, but that'll be just fine. I like that. It's nice having that small diameter chuck working towards it on these little things rather than that big 6-inch chuck that I'm usually swinging in there with these small parts. They get lost in it with the, even though I think that this piece might fit in my 6-inch chuck, I feel a lot more comfortable machining it with that. That's great. I like it. Thank you, Andy Evans. Really appreciate it. Those of you that follow me on social media, Facebook and Instagram, probably realize that I'm also involved in a museum, actually a trustee of a museum that is made up of 10 to 12 smaller nonprofit museums, and I get involved with the marketing and so on. And one of the things that I'm doing right now is getting signs made, and I have somebody that will make the signs, that has the printer to cut the vinyl and all, but their supplier of sign blanks is back ordering the material. So I went out to my local metal supplier recently and picked up 10 2-foot by 4-foot sheets of aluminum, and I'm going to be processing them into signs. I need to drill the corners for the mounting. I'm going to round the corners off. But these were shear cut, and they've got some serious burrs on the edges. So I reached out to Noga and I purchased this deburring tool for sheet metal. I'm sure many of you have seen this before, but it's got a knuckle guard on it, and it's got these round deburring wheels, cutters, that can be rotated, so as they wear you just rotate it to a new section. And so I'll use that to deburr those sheets. So I'm going to get a piece of sheet metal over here and give it a try. Got a piece of steel sheet metal here. I'll just give it a try. That's all right. Puts a pretty nice edge on it. Just bear in mind that this is the first time that I'm ever trying this. Okay. that can be adjusted, I'm sure, for different. There we go. I don't know why it won't go on that way. So it was going against the grain. So anyway, my Noga deburring tool for sheet metal. Okay, this next item was kind of an impulse purchase. My friend Randy Richard in the shop, just got one of these and did a unboxing and a trial run on it, and I was so impressed that I went online to check it out, and they were running a flash sale on it. So I grabbed it up and I'm going to unbox it. This is a 50 amp plasma cutter, and it is from Banggood, and I'll be perfectly honest with you, I'm not a huge Banggood fan, but every once in a while something comes along. Let's see if I can get it out of here. This is very lightweight. Okay. Get this box out of the way. Called the Cut 50, and I'm going to put it together. It comes with the pressure regulator for the air pressure. Here's a ground clamp. It's got a small DIN connector on it. Here is the torch. All right. Oops. Somewhere along the line, I just nicked my finger. When I was setting up the lathe, I was cleaning some chips off of it, and one of them got the tip of my finger. I'm bleeding all over the place right now. Okay, this should be the consumables. Now, I ordered a package of consumables for it. Okay, this is just the initial set that came with the welder, and I got a funny notice back from him about shipping, and I suspect that the kit that I ordered with it is probably being shipped from overseas. But all that consisted of were some extra nozzles and electrodes and so on. Comes with clamps and the fittings. Let's take and put these in the bag before I lose them. On the back is a mount for the regulator. That's the air supply. I really don't know anything about this. I'm going to have to read a little bit about it. And it comes with a European plug. So I'm going to have to cut the plug off and I was going to demonstrate this in this video, but I haven't got a plug to put on it for my 220 service. So I guess that's going to be another video. If you want to see how it works, check out Randy Richard in the shop, and tell him I sent you. And you can see how this works. Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of Shark Bits. But before I go, just wanted to give a word of explanation. I have an Etsy store where I sell the precision ground flat stones. If you happen to be looking for it right now, the store is there, but there's no inventory in it. I have deactivated the inventory until after Christmas. I want to be able to sit down and relax a little bit and not have to be out here grinding stones in the shop during the Christmas break. So it'll be back up and running in about a week. There may be some future developments with regard to the Etsy store coming. I'm not sure. I'm having a battle with them right now, but that's beside the point. The small stones, the 4-inch stones, have been out of stock for a while. They were ordered over 2 weeks ago, and I still haven't gotten them in. They come direct from the manufacturer out in the Midwest. They're out in Illinois somewhere, but I haven't gotten shipping notice on them yet. I expect them any day. I want to thank everybody that has purchased the stones and supported my channel. That's how I'm able to do what I'm able to do. I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I will see you in the next video.